I am so excited that this is finally ready. My amazing husband custom built this for me. He 3D printed all the parts, and if you're interested in watching the process on that, I started filming about halfway through. So later in the video, I have a time lapse of everything that we did. It's mostly him. But it was really, and I want to talk about this, the yarn, this particular yarn. I had no idea in October 2008 when I did my very first dye batch. It was on Lions Brand homespun, I think, or fisherman's wool in a microwave with food coloring. And I was trying to make a nebula on yarn. And that was 14 years ago this month. And I had no idea that it would take from October of 2008 until about September, October of 2014 to actually kind of nail it for the first time. So about 1,000 batches in between, probably more, but I'm trying to be a conservative estimator of bleaching the skein and then using tiny pipettes, using all different kinds of wax resists, silk resists, and then boiling them out, and dye remover, and Japanese Tsukineko ink, and that was highly flammable, and just really, I wish I had thought to document 2008 to 2014 because I almost lit my dad's kitchen on fire. A fireball came out of the oven in one of my failed attempts to make a yarn. I wanted a black yarn with tiny rainbow pops like this. And I wanted to knit, I wanted a yarn that knit up like you were knitting through the stars. And it was a very expensive, very long process. I had no idea what I was signing up for. So 2014, I finally hit upon tying resist, dye the background, cut the resist, over dye. And then it took from 2014 to 2018 to really nail it in terms of what temperature the water needs to be at, exactly what percentage of which dye makes the best and darkest black that doesn't bleed. What's the do we put the dye, then yarn, then bring it up to heat? No, the dye migrates under the ties. Do we put the yarn in and warm water and bring it up to heat? No, the dye migrates underneath the ties. So all of those little things, like just thousands of batches. I released it to the public in 2018, and to my amazement and shock and excitement, I saw many dyers with much bigger platforms than I have adopt it and make it their own. And it has been so wonderful. At least, like, I'd say once every 5 or 6 days, I'm just scrolling through and I will see this technique done by someone I've never heard of before. I don't know if they saw my video or if they saw one of the subsequent videos on it, or if they saw someone do it and figured it out themselves. But it just makes me so happy because some really interesting concepts that I never would have thought of. There was a dyer, and I wish I remember her name, and she did a super dark green background, and all the pops of color are the exact color of Christmas tree lights, and it really knits up like a Christmas tree with Christmas tree lights. So there have been incredible adoptions, like Fiber Junkie, my friend Rania. She just has this blue version, a dark blue background with these little rainbow pops that is so unique and beautiful. So anyhow, here is the process on exactly how we made the box. And I'm going to be bringing it with me to Stitches, and people can take their yarn and put it inside and see what it looks like. I'm hoping that I'll find a fellow group of people that are as excited about black and neon yarn as I am. I have built an entire booth for this that is all based on oil slicks and nebulas and glow-in-the-dark yarn. Or I should say glow under blacklight yarn. They don't make a dye that is phosphorescent. Believe me, I've tried. Anyway, so without further ado, here's the process of how we made it.
these two parts.
Mm-hmm.
They screw together.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
So I'm gonna cut a hole in the box, and then one piece goes here, the other piece comes from below, and they gonna sit like that on there, so people can use that to open and close the box, and maybe even look through there.
And you made the 3D printed design yourself?
Yes, Blender.